Good morning, everybody. My name is Paul. I work for a company called Micrographics. We are an Autodesk reseller and I reside in Cape Town, South Africa. This morning I'd like to discuss the assignment of speeds on alignments and how you can achieve that in practice. Usually, unless you do something repeatedly, you don't get to experience the software's nuances or little tricks that you can do. And in this case, the ultimate purpose of this, which I have since achieved, is to create a divided crowned highway for super elevation that is going along a mountainside, and you can see it is already existing. So I'm reverse engineering this highway for myself. And one of the things that I came across was when I reverse engineered on the imagery over there, the alignments, you don't get to design something just like you want. You have to fit whatever is created over there. And right over there you can see that there's an exclamation mark that is thrown up like that. What that means is that the road is recognizing that, look, for your current speed, you have a problem with that curve. And so you can have a look at where those warnings are shown up. You can always zoom out and regen, and then you can see those warnings a bit clearer. There we can see them a bit clearer. Now that you zoom in, they're large, and you can see exactly where they are happening. So first of all, what are these warnings and where do they come from? Well, that's part of the alignment. When you create the alignment, you'll see that on the alignment properties, we are choosing to use a design criteria file. You can get the information for this from your country kits, or in the case like you can set it up for yourself as well. So in this case, I'm just using something that I got from the country kit, which in this case is over here. It's a little file. There it is, XML file, and you can load that. So that's one of the things that you can see over there, right? And then this is now the design speeds that you can see over here. There's the design criteria file, and there's the information for the alignment. Right, so what we can do is we can add, say, let's suppose we wanted to drive 60 kilometers an hour on this road. We can say that from the beginning we're going to drop the design speed over there to 60 kilometers an hour and say okay. What's the result of that? Well, if we zoom out, we should see that there are less warnings that are thrown out. You can see we've only got a few of them. So obviously this is a bit tight for 60 kilometers an hour. Similarly over here, it's a bit tight for 60 kilometers an hour, and over here and over here. Now, since there's only one alignment that drives this assembly or the corridor, we might have to create a secondary alignment for the other road and test that independently to see if the speeds and how the speeds align to that. Then we've got the ability to change the speed at this item over here. So if we have a look at the alignment, we can see that that curve is the actual issue over there, and this is really what this blog is focusing on. We would like to have a look at the geometry editor. There is a little table that we can see the information for that curve. I'll put it on the side, and we can select the entity to have a look at the properties for that. All right, so there we can see that the radius is 107699, and that is falling outside of what we need. Now we can't change the radius, so we'll need to change the speed. All right. So the next question is now, what speed do we need to drop it to? All right, and that is also interesting. If you click on the alignment, one of the contextual tools that should come up is the design criteria editor. If you don't see it there, then just if you search or type in design criteria. Oh, come on. Excuse me. Here we go again. The design criteria editor, you can see that it is actually a command that you can execute in Autodesk as well. All right, so if you typically the way that I get to this is I click on the alignment and then I click on the design criteria editor. Now this allows you to load the exact same design criteria file that we used when we created the alignment and said that it must be dependent upon the design criteria file, and that again is over here under config in the design criteria file. There we have it. All right, so that's now loaded the file, and let's have a look at the alignment. There we can see the minimum radius tables. This is a 4% grade urban road, which is, I suppose, what this will conform to. And there we can see that there are speeds for radii. And so with 107 radius, we can see that we are out of bounds for 60, but 50 will do. So what we need to do is to drop the speed then to 50. And also you can edit these if you have different criteria that you need to follow based on your roads agency that you need to follow. All right. And how do we do that? All right. Again, we go to the geometry editor. And what we need to investigate is what are the values. So if I just list the curve, we have the curve, right? So there we can see that pass point 1, 2, apologies. A better way would actually be the curve itself doesn't give you the alignments, but another way to get at that is again through the geometry editor. If we choose the alignment grid view, then we can see the curve over here. It's got a length, a radius, the start station and the end station. Right, so we've got 30.22 meters and 141.11 meters. And so what we need to do is to add that speed to that curve at those stations. Great. So then we will go to the alignment properties. Here are the stations. We start off at 60 kilometers an hour. Then we add a value. You can see that both of them are now the same. We can say the second one is going to start, and now the value that we read was 30.22. So if we put 30.22 and drop that to 50, then we would expect the value to, or the exclamation mark to disappear. And then if we raise the speed back to 60 at a station value of 140.11, then we expect the warning to disappear. Okay, so there's 60, 50, and 60. Okay. And then we can see that the warning is still there. All right, so maybe that didn't work so well. Let's look at the alignment properties again. Right, and let's see if we can delete those. Add. Right, start station. As we click on it, you can see that you can also pick it. That makes it nice and easy. So if we pick, you can actually pick that station over there. Shift right click endpoint. Come on. Shift right click endpoint of the curve. You can see 30.22. And then over there, from that point on, we're going at 50 kilometers per hour. And then we add another one. This time we're going to pick the speed back up to 60. And we are going to choose a station value. That's going to be on the other side. Come on. There we go. Shift right click endpoint and that is now on the actual geometric point. So one would think that there is now no way that the software can misinterpret that. All right, okay. However, the warning remains. There is the warning. All right. So if at this stage you are confused, just go in here and change the decimal value. Say I'm going to take 2 decimal points off there, and over here I'm going to add, say, 2 decimal points over there. Okay. And there the warning disappears. Right. So even though you've got the tools, and the tools are pointing to the exact right geometrical reference, it's not making that warning disappear. While in that case, you know, we are talking about a centimeter or 2 either way. It's not going to, you know, make such a big difference, but it does get that warning to disappear. And as you go through the alignment, then you will be able to fix the speeds. And then of course, when you label the road, you can also choose to label the speed, and then you will know at what speed that starts. So there is the lab. So I hope that you've learned from this, that just alter the decimal points a bit and your warnings will disappear for your design criteria file. Until next time, enjoy Civil 3D.